A model that debuted in the days of Medarot 8 on the 3DS era, this model in particular charges into the fight with reckless abandon, liking to get up close and personal. It is RTL00 Fearlessness, with a kit of Reckless, Double Claw, 5-head legs, and the leg ability of Super Armor, which grants passive immunity to paralyze ailments a certain number of hits. Now, as a model that's available in the permanent banner, very likely anyone who's played longer than, say, a month has probably collected at least one part of Fearlessness already, but at first glance may honestly sleep on him, and that is honestly where a lot of people may make their first mistake, as even as a spotlight model, Fearlessness is packing some pretty nasty heat, which, thanks to the 3.2 update, makes him even more viability likely with what he packs. Reckless is a support-based skill that once activated will buff his own personal damage by a certain amount for the next hit, meaning the next hit that lands is going to be just a little bit more painful than intended before and increase the base damage that he deals. Claw on both arms is a conventional melee skill that, when used, is a scattered AoE, meaning that it will damage one part normally and then two others at random at 1/3 damage each. It is also worth noting that thanks to the 3.2 update, Claw is now an incredible counter to use against anyone that is abusing shield tactics, as Claw will actually debuff the amount of times a shield can stay in play by up to 3 charges. That means anyone using Shoot Guard, or even Perfect Guard, or even Mirror Guard on top of that, will have their guards very easily removed within one turn, instead of simply tanking the blow or even just using a single charge for it as intended before. Meaning that originally, Fearlessness may not have packed a lot at first glance, but the 3.2 update definitely did this bot very nicely. 5-head legs means that he will have moderately solid good coverage on all terrains across the board, as arguably one of the best and well-rounded leg types, and the leg ability of Super Armor is definitely going to be a huge benefit to him, as a model that definitely likes getting up close and personal, and especially in a meta where ailments such as Thunder, Thundershot, and Free Shot, and so on tend to rule the meta. This means that no matter what is thrown his way, Fearlessness will keep marching forward, intent to shred his opponent to ribbons, as if the ailment never bothered hitting him. The only real drawback to Fearlessness is that his stats are relatively subpar to a point, and that's honestly something that will hold him back just a little bit. But excluding the numbers and looking at him for what he can bring to the table, he is still a very dangerous model and a very considerable force to be reckoned with, especially now to anyone using shields. That being said, as a pure set score, I do have to rate him a very solid 6.5 out of 10, and essentially kind of one of those middle-of-the-road type bots. One that you really can't ever go wrong using, but he's not game-breaking broken either compared to, say, the 7 Lucky Gods or Kreutz Bison or someone similar to that who can bring something more powerful to the table. But in particular, as mentioned, Fearlessness, thanks to the 3.2 update, will become an absolute terror and menace to anyone that tries using shields, or just in general anyone that likes using scattered damage to help prep for someone to come behind and kind of finish the job for him with a peppered enemy. As mixed parts, I do have to rate him very equally at a 6.5 out of 10 as well, given that even if speed may not be at its advantage, Claw is still something that has a very massively boosted viability thanks to the recent update. So even if you choose not to use him as a pure set, holding on to Claw somewhere in the build really would not do you any wrong, and even if it's something not used for shields, the ability to pepper a foe and maybe deal some damage to all parts or a chunk of parts before going in for a kill will further guarantee that when you go in for that nuke, it's absolutely going to break something.